"Whoa, just follow your dreams." Like, that personality is very, like, people want to follow that personality, right? Because you just want that little slice in your life of, like, inspiration and stuff like that. So then my personality comes in and foils, and it's like, I could remember being in it. I remember being in a meeting once, and like someone had said, "Guys, we just need to trust the process." And the reason we were having the meeting was that there was no process. It was like about employee onboarding or something that's the total opposite of yoga. And I like flipped out. I was like, "We can't trust the process, Becky, because there is no process. That's why 10 of us are in this room right now. So can you please put a lid on it?"
You were number 2.
Oh my God, that is so crazy.
I know, and it's so exciting. I'm like, yay, number 2 is Nick, because you're awesome, and I love you, and I'm just like, yay.
Oh.
We're gonna kick us off. I am so excited to have Nick. Okay, wait. We need to pause because I fuck up your last name like you don't even know. I call you like Wolny. I put in an N.
That's right.
I don't know
That's
why.
right.
Is it's Wolny?
Well, it's like it's Wolny, so it's like wool, like wool on a sheep.
Yeah.
And then knee, like knee body part.
Knee.
Wolny.
Okay, well, I was screwing it up somehow, and I think Primaj, he like highlighted it like in my post because I spelt it wrong. He's like, "By the way, there's like no something." I added something. I can't remember what I did, and so I was really paranoid that I was gonna screw up your name. Okay, so Wolny.
I love that he did that. He's like a protective dad.
He's like, "Hey, it's really great. I love the post, but his name is spelled this way." And I was like, get in there and thanks.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Oh my God, he's awesome. He was number 1.
I know, you told me.
Oh, I did.
That's why I'm so flattered.
Well, I am super, super excited. As you know, this is not going to be your typical podcast, very like straightforward, questions, business. No. We're going to have fun. I want to get to know you better, show you and like show the world you and why I absolutely adore you. But we're going to kick things off. I don't even think we really need this, but like just to kind of relax a little bit, there's this game that I used to play with my ESL students. Okay, so learning English. It's basically the questions game. And you have to not answer the question. So you reply with a question.
Okay. Oh my God, this is going to be great.
It's so good. And so if you answer, you fail. And then we're done. Okay?
Okay,
I'm just going to say that Primaj didn't play this very well. And then he kicked my ass. So it was like this weird, like, I kicked his ass and then he kicked mine. So.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Are we starting now?
Do you have a watch on?
Does it matter since I'm not the host?
Am I the host?
Are you in an alternate universe?
Did you watch Stranger Things 2?
Is that relevant to this podcast?
What do you think?
I mean, does my opinion matter?
Do you feel like your opinion doesn't matter?
What are you trying to say?
What's that behind you?
You're really going to ask that on a podcast recording?
Is that offensive?
Do I look offended?
Have you ever been offended?
What kind of question is that?
Isn't it simple?
How long is this podcast?
We need like a tap out. So I would love it if you could just tell us a little bit about your business and what it is that you want to be like known for.
I love it. I'm Nick. I'm 30. I'm a Pisces. I help gyms grow. And what that specifically means, I work specifically in the niche of class-based fitness businesses. So think more like a yoga studio or Pilates studio rather than a 24-hour fitness or something like that, like a big box gym. And I help them attract more clients and make more revenue using a mix of digital marketing and copywriting. And I also worked for a company called Lululemon for years in management.
Whoa.
I worked for them for about,
Whoa. Let me just pause for a second.
Yeah.
You work for Lululemon?
Yeah, you're Canadian. So
I am Canadian. I'm all like, seriously, at Christmas time, it's insane. People like
Yeah.
line up.
Oh my God, it's dangerous. Yeah.
Oh my God. What did you do at Lululemon?
I worked well, it's funny because I went to music school and then I was like, I did my like Black Swan thing. So that wasn't my thing. We'll get back to that in a minute.
We're going to come back.
Well, I didn't, yeah. Well, I like Black Swan and freaked out, and Whiplash is actually a documentary of my last year of grad school. And so then I was at Lululemon, and I was just doing this part-time job, but I consider my time there like to be the business school I never had. So I worked there for a little under 5 years, and I got to do like management and also a lot of community relations. So I got to definitely do like, okay, we're running a $10 million store and it's making $10 million a year and sells pants. Right. So like we're definitely having to do like, there are things that we're doing and learned a lot about, supply chain and demand and stuff like that. But then I also got to do some cool brand events. Like I got to go and help with like a Wanderlust festival, and I got to do some stuff up in Vancouver, even though I live in Texas. So it was kind of like a nice mix of skills. Yeah. I think when people are starting a business, especially something like a fitness studio that is like very passion driven and very community driven, like the whole reason that person is starting that business is that they want to be like the business owner. They want to be the entrepreneur. Like they don't want a business coach right now. Like they're excited to get in the sandbox and figure it out. They don't want a sandbox coach, right? They just want to get in the sandbox and like dick around. So I had some initial people that were like, were converting and like doing packages with me, but because I hadn't really followed my ABCs of online business, like I didn't have traffic, so that kind of fizzled out. Yeah. And also in looking with these clients, I found that this was last fall. I found that in this niche, where people were getting the vast majority of their results, specifically the financial results, is by tweaking their marketing. And it was kind of ironic because like tweaking their traffic strategy, but I had no traffic strategy. So things like paid advertising can be really lucrative for a brick and mortar business, for example. So I pivoted, I kind of pulled back, I stopped selling packages, my consulting package, and I just invested in really learning and understanding the paid advertising game and the digital marketing game. And I shifted my services from coaching into done for you service. So rather than recommending strategy and partnering on strategy and something that's more touchy feely, now I'm a little more cold and heartless, and the black heart emoji came out at like the same time. Perfect timing.
Cool. So wait. Nick, no. Nick is not cold and heartless. Nick is awesome and like amazing. So,
cold and heartless.
Cold and heartless. I don't want to do this interview anymore because I'm learning whole things about you. Let me pause just for a second though, because like my brain is just like, music? What? Were you a band geek? Because oh my God, I was a band geek.
Oh, yes.
What did you play?
So I played the same instrument the whole time. I played French horn, which is the curly one on all the Christmas cards.
Okay, I did not play French horn, but I could have. They said I had the ear for it. I went with saxophone. That was very nice. Jazz, very fun. It was good stuff.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Dude, French horn? Dude,
you have to be smart.
You do. You have to have the ear. It's like
well, it's because it's it's so easy to play the wrong notes all the time, as I learned. And also, my last name starts with W, so it was the only instrument left, which is not a very inspiring story of why you should go and pursue music professionally for years. I was like, well, my last name started with W, so that's the instrument I chose. It was great.
That's weird that you didn't get to choose until the end, and they were like, oh, you get French horn or like tuba or something. Like,
yeah, that was basically it. Yeah,
dude, that sucks.
But then I came to really love the French horn.
Okay, so it's like a love story. Maybe it's like an arranged marriage. Like it's like you didn't know each other first, but then you grow to love each other.
That sounds less romantic.
That does. I kind of killed it. I'm sorry, you threw me off with this whole black dead heart of yours. I don't know. I'm totally thrown up.
I think where that comes from is I am like I'm very like structure driven, and especially in being in the yoga space for a long time, the yoga space has a lot of personalities and a lot of like general vibe that is like, oh my god, just be one with the universe, Diana. Just like, you don't need a strategy, you just need chakra balancing, right? It's just like, that's totally like the vibe of the entire industry. What?
Is that the voice that people use?
People, so it's like too high in the clouds. And then being in the role of COO, like, it was very much about, okay, what are we doing? Like, what are the activities that are driving, like I would call it member retention, but I think a more fun term is community engagement, vibe, stuff like that. Yeah. So what are we doing that's going to systematically drive that, especially as we open new locations, and like, how do we like get that in like from day one? And then also, it's funny because like those big like, just follow your dreams, like that personality is very like, people want to follow that personality, right? Because you just want that little slice in your life of like inspiration and stuff like that. So then my personality comes in and foils, and it's like, I could remember being in it. I remember being in a meeting once, and like someone had said, guys, we just need to trust the process. And the reason we were having the meeting was that there was no process. It was like about employee onboarding or something that's the total opposite of yoga. And I like flipped out. I was like, we can't trust the process, Becky, because there is no process. That's why 10 of us are in this room right now. So can you please put a lid on it?
I love that her name is Becky.
It was just like, right? So yeah, I think it also, so it kind of comes from that I would be like that grounding energy for everybody. And all those in like, the people that dream, big dreamers, like they totally feed off of each other. So then to come in and say like, that's great that you want to do spaceship yoga, and I'm going to pull it back now. Right.
So you kill dreams. Oh my God.
At Disney. Okay. Do you know, at Disney, there is like, when they're vetting ideas, there's like 3 rooms. Do you know this? No. Yeah. And the first room is like all like, just like go up in the clouds, go nuts, crazy, wild ideas. No idea is dumb. Have like massive brainstorming session, right? Yeah. Then room 2, I feel like maybe I made this up, but it's either called the kill room or I call it the kill room. And it's where they take all these ideas and they're just like, not realistic, too long of a project, no. But they have to do them in separate rooms so that they don't actually disrupt the flow of either room. Like the kill room is about like, like actually making it happen. The dream room, and so they have entirely separate rooms. That way they're not kind of contaminating each other, right? Because the kill room, like it's so important that the dreamers just like go all the way off the rails,
and then it's also die. Like
I know, but then the kill room is also important because the kill room is also like what's going to make like some of those are going to turn into movies as a result, right? Because the kill room is being like on their game. So I would think of that. So basically, I'm like a human manifestation of the kill room.
Right. I love it. So it's like,
so anyway,
before this conversation, I would never in my life have envisioned you that way, but now I'm seeing this whole other side of you. Which is pretty freaking cool.
Yay.
Okay, so let's.
We have to go back to the second pivot. Sorry, I'm like just commandeering this podcast to talk more about.
You're totally hijacked. Now, this is what we're gonna play today. Is gonna be, can Diana actually get through all of her questions? That's the game. This could be a drinking game, actually. It could be like, hey guys, have a drink every time.
Every time I interrupt you with my own agenda. So then now, most recently, and even with UGS, most recently, like I've really established this blended strategy where it is like I'm in my target audience, I'm in my target offering. I try to really stay in my lane with copywriting, longer, deeper copy, and ghostwriting even, and then foiling that with digital marketing savvy, like Facebook ads, Facebook Live, and other elements like that.
One quick
Okay.
thing. You said Uggs. Can you clarify what that is, just for anybody that doesn't know what Uggs
I
stands
didn't,
for? And what
I didn't
that
say
is? Yes, you did.
I thought you meant Uggs like the boots. And I was like, I wasn't talking about boots. How are you even listening to me?
Well, maybe. This is the thing. Some innocent listener is probably sitting here thinking, Uggs, like the furry sheep boots? Okay, so it's woolly, like woolly knee, and then the boots? I don't understand. So yeah, let's just clarify what Uggs actually is so
Yep.
that people are on the
So
same
UGS,
page.
or UGS, thank you for the clarification. It's a course that the gentleman on your previous episode, Primoz Bajik, has. It's called Ultimate Guide System, and it's a course that we established our unrequited love in, and it's a course that teaches you how to write an ultimate guide, which is a piece of long-form content that establishes thought leadership in your industry. And I think also a residual result of that course is you just start writing a lot, you get better at writing, and you get better at structuring content creation. Like for me, I could always write like charming blogs and things like that, but I just really had a problem, or I struggled with structuring, just structuring content to where it retained attention, and stayed just, like really bright and engaging for 50, 60, 80, 100 pages of content potentially. Or even if you were going to do something like a video series or something like that, like any piece of content that requires kind of a lot of structure, I just couldn't quite get over the hump with that. And that course really, and I don't know if you were experiencing something similar, but that course really helped achieve that. And long form content is freaking awesome because you do the work up front. And then I will get subscribers. I'll get people who will download a guide that I wrote in June. And I have not really touched that guide in June. It's actually time to kind of circle back and do some revision, based on what's happening in the industry and with technology. But it's just so cool to have that done. And it's building SEO. It's building thought leadership. I've gotten clients off of publishing these.
So to switch gears, we're going somewhere that's a little bit, it might seem weird, but if you could start a rumor about yourself, what would it be and why?
If I could start a rumor about myself.
Yeah.
I feel like I would want it to be some like this is totally not dealing with any of the consequences or repercussions of this, but I would want it to be a rumor that's like, oh my God, he slept with Sam Smith. Oh my God. Because it would be, okay, because here's why. Because one, it would make me seem cool.
Because that's the most important thing.
Yep. Duh. Hello. Two, everyone would think that I had major game. And then three, I feel like with almost any thing like that, it is massive news. And this is the part where we're just ignoring all the consequences, paparazzi.
Doesn't matter.
And then it just kind of and then it becomes yesterday's news very quickly. But there's always that residual, oh my God, did he sleep with Neil Patrick Harris? Yeah. Well, to kind of circle back into entrepreneurship is something pissed me off so bad. I'm in this niche and I feel so good. And I just heard whispers from some of my existing network of oh, he just really doesn't know what he's doing these days, or he's kind of all over the place and stuff like that. Yep. And it was interesting because it at first I was letting it impact me, what the fuck, bitch, I know exactly what I'm doing. And that and then I just had to kind of shift out of that into I have an analogy for you that's kind of related to this. So it's to this previous network, I was a circle, right? Because I was this COO role, and then I was doing this one other thing, and then I was pivoting, right? And in pivoting, it's just it was putting it out there. And now I'm saying, hey, I'm a triangle, right? I'm a triangle, and I'm doing triangular things, and people your previous, when you start something new, people are only going to relate to you or connect to you as how you were previously showing up.
Yeah.
So you've got to there's like this gap where you've got to reteach people how to relate to you. And I think I'm in that right now. And that's what's been nice about, doing guides and establishing credibility and also just doing like media and stuff like that. So it's, I think that it's just kind of like that circle triangle gap that whenever you start something new, like people, like you're going to have to reteach, even like your friends and family, you're going to have to kind of reteach them a little bit because they love you and they're going to relate to what they know and what they knew, which was that you show up like a circle. Someone gave me that analogy once and it was just, it just made me more confident about like going into a room and just being like, bam.
I'm a triangle.
Yeah.
Even if you think I'm a circle.
Not worry up, or to show up at like forefront and just be like, ah! Right? Because it's just like,
what's forefront?
It's this conference that we were at together last month. It's a conference put on by Ramit Sethi, who is a personal finance thought leader, an entrepreneurship thought leader, and it was the second year that he hosted a conference. This year it was in Chicago. And it's, in terms of like his, some of his brand elements, like I think definitely one of his elements as a personal brand is that he appeals to like introverts, for example, like talking about, like psychology and technology and things like that. So of course at this conference, it's like all these introverts that are like, oh my God, I'm sitting in a room with people. Blah. Right.
I love this voice that comes out. Like whatever. Who is this? It's like inner Nick.
Oh my God, I have to talk to people to have an online business. Blah. Well, and I think it's also like you're chronically in that circle to triangle gap, right? I think that's why imposter syndrome shows up, is that you are trying to be a triangle, but you kind of are not getting that feedback back from people or from the internet or whatever that you are a triangle, right? And you're trying to turn in, like, go from a circle to a triangle or a hexagon or whatever. And, you know what I mean? And like, so I think that's what kind of breeds imposter syndrome. And I think imposter syndrome is where a lot of people get stuck.
Totally. 100%, because it stops you from doing. And it's all, but it's frustrating because it's all in your head. It doesn't exist, but it's like we create it because it's, we're just trying to keep ourselves safe. We're trying to, not get hurt, not look stupid, not embarrass ourselves. So would you say that, like from the outside, I would say, like you've got everything figured out. You're like doing stuff. You've written like 4 ultimate guides. Like it's insane. Do you have everything together and like everything's perfect and great? Because you kind of
that is such a loaded question. So are you perfect? So do you like have no stress?
Do you have your shit together 24/7?
No,
because we think you do.
It's really more like 0-0, like as opposed to 24/7. Sorry, that didn't land.
0-0 is like never.
It's basically never at all. Yeah. Well, I think that it kind of goes back to optimizing for practice rather than results. And so just really working on that because when I optimize for results, one, it doesn't really work. Yeah. But by optimizing for practice, just like, okay, like I know I'm going to write every day. I know I'm going to, like, for me, I would much rather bury my head in guides and content than write pitches because writing pitches might mean I have to talk to people. And so that I'm just, fuck it. Right. So, so you know what I mean? So then just like, okay, I'm just going to practice. I'm going to practice, writing pitches for X minutes a day and just practicing every day. Because I went to music school, I'm really, I really love practice methodologies. And, like what can I practice every day and getting systematically better. Yeah, exactly. So starting from the space of, okay, I'm going to make everything work. Like starting from the space of, I'm going to have it all in life. And then reverse engineering from there. And then sometimes you cry in your car, but it's fine.
What? You cry in your car?
Why are you doing these why are you doing these
first of all, you paused for a second, so I got to actually talk, which was awesome. High five self. Yeah. But have you ever cried? I've cried in many places. I'm a crier, so I have no shame. I'm trying to think of different places I've cried. I've cried in bathrooms. I've cried. I don't know if I've cried in a car. Probably.
Well, I live in Houston, so I'm in my car. My car is basically, it should just be my house because I'm just in it all the time because there's so much traffic. And it's like Houston, it's like LA. There's like not a public transportation system. So you drive everywhere.
All right. Do you want to share about this incident in your car or not really?
Well, I mean, well, it wasn't an incident. It happens like once a week.
Okay.
And it's mostly just like, I think that I'm an anxious person. I think that it's one of the main reasons I left music school. So in music school, like I had two phases. My first phase was being anxious as fuck all the time and like never being able to play in front of people and just being nervous. And I actually loved auditions because auditions were behind a curtain.
Oh, really?
And so I would.
They could hear you. Right.
Yeah. So I would, and so I wouldn't. I would do well in the auditions, but then I would not do well in the performance because people would be looking at me, and that made me really anxious. I think I'm just an anxious person. Then I started taking the underground drug of classical music, which is called Inderol, and there's an underground system. Oh my God. So it's called Inderol. It's a hypertension medication, but a side effect is that it blocks adrenaline. Oh. So you take this. So you go to the like campus doctor, and you're like, I feel dizzy when I play my recital or some bullshit.
Are you saying that you lied?
No, that was kind of true. Like I didn't feel good while I was playing in front of people, so that's a factual statement. Anyway, and then the nurse sort of would respond with, okay, you're the 7th music school student here today. Just like, here you go. Here's the prescription. Just go away. Because I have people here that actually have the flu. So anyway, so you would get this prescribed and it blocks adrenaline. So when you start to get nervous, the physical, those physical things, from playing an instrument, those physical things will actually shut you down. Yeah. Like dry mouth and clammy hands and stuff like that. That will actually make you less able to play your instrument. And then it's just like a downward spiral. So then I started to take these pills and I began to get everything I wanted because I would just crush it because I didn't feel anything when I played music. Again, going back to the Black Heart narrative arc of this podcast. I
so did not expect this. Just for everybody that's listening, this was not what I was expecting from Nick.
So it was kind of interesting, right? Because it was like on the one hand, I began to get everything I wanted. I got into all the best schools. I won scholarships, all this stuff. On the other hand, I didn't feel anything when I played music anymore, right? It was just kind of because it was just like this numb feeling, right? But the feeling of achievement was great. So it was kind of replacing that feeling of expression. It was interesting. And then they filmed me, and then it became a film called Whiplash. So just kidding. So then,
but this we're leading up to the crying in the car. What?
Oh, yeah.
Lead up to the crying in the car?
So that was not sustainable. And it really so the root of it was just that I was numbing to deal with being anxious. Right. And I think that's actually why I began to segue into yoga is because it was something similar where there was a practice element to it, but it was not about performance, or I just chose to not veer into those elements of performance, right? Like being the most stretchy person in the class or whatever, or having to be competitive. And so I think it just I just think I have an anxious disposition, and I will do the things that I know will help soothe that disposition, right? I'm gonna drink water. I'm gonna incorporate some time to have some quiet time, or things like that. And I'm also I'm gonna push it. I'm driven. I'm gonna push it. I am not apologetic about it anymore. Also, I forget that in the yoga space, bawling hysterically is totally normal because it's just especially in trainings and intensives and things like that, you are working with deep rooted deep-rooted feelings. So in yoga teacher training, they talk about how trauma gets stored in the body. So like, because in the wild, like on Animal Planet, you'll watch a deer almost get eaten by a tiger, and then the deer escapes, and then the deer it'll just start to shake.
Yeah,
right?
It shakes.
Shake. So it's like shaking. So it's shaking to release all of the like traumatic energy and biology that was just created because it thought it was going to get eaten. We don't do that, right? Because like that would like mostly that's not socially appropriate to just shake uncontrollably after you've like been stressed out, right?
We just had the most stressful experience. God, that'd be awesome. Be like,
right, that'd be amazing. So instead, the trauma gets like it gets like stored in the body. It gets stored in the soft tissue of the body, just that the body like has to process it. So that's why when you have, especially like the hip opening poses, like pigeon pose is a very famous pose for like people have like sometimes just people start crying in this pose, and it's like this is like what is happening right now, and it's because it's like as the tissue gets stretched, it's releasing this emotional energy and releasing this trauma, like stored trauma.
But yeah, so my next question is, you know, that expression where there's like, you know, you're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, this sort of thing. I'd like to know one person that you'd like to bring into that group of 5 and why. Like if you could bring one person. Anybody.
Living or dead?
Anybody. Maybe living. Let's keep it living, because if they're dead, that's never going to happen. I'd like. Okay. Let's see.
I would. Okay. Do you watch Black Mirror?
I've heard of it. It's on Netflix, right?
It's a show. It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
So I would want to bring Charlie Brooker, like around to be a sidekick. So he's the creator of that show.
Yeah.
And I think just the fact that he can dream up and write, like what some of these episodes are about. Now, like just from like a writing and a narrative and a creative perspective, it's just so fascinating. And I think whenever you're talking about things like the future or some episodes have elements of some things like time travel or just other like, you know, sci-fi notes in them. Like to be able to do that and deliver that in a very clean, crisp, tight way that's like super compelling. I think almost every episode of that show is so compelling. And so like just like this is the storytelling is so well done. And I think it's also fascinating because like some of the episodes are starting to happen. Like there's an episode so it was a British show. It had 2 seasons that were just 3 episodes each. And then Netflix picked it up. And so now they're doing some 6-season episodes. So, in this newest season, and another season's coming out soon. See, this is why I have to have a big plate and cry in my car, because then I would just watch Netflix all the time. So the first episode, I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically about, it takes place in the near future, but you can rate everyone has their rating above them, almost like it's like a Yelp
Facebook,
like a review. Yeah. Rating is like floating above them or like whatever, or it shows up on your phone or your device. And then after you interact with people in your day-to-day, you rate them. So then everyone has a rating. So then it just talks about like how life is now that there's like your rating as a person. Like you need certain ratings to get approved for a mortgage. You need certain ratings to get a promotion. You need because your rating is searchable by anyone anywhere. And then there's like cyber crime that is like about destroying people's rating. You can't complain or make a scene at the airport because then 50 people in line are going to downgrade your rating. You can't make a scene anywhere because then you're going to downgrade your rating. So it's a really interesting episode. And I just think like you're talking about stuff like that is actually like on the verge of happening in some ways.
Wow. That's
right.
Really cool.
It's super cool. And it's an anthology. And I love that too. Cause you can just like pop in and watch one episode and they're all just these like standalone episodes.
Yeah. Just like disconnected. Going off of that, this idea of like your feelings and emotions, this sort of thing. I mean, as an entrepreneur, like, maybe we kind of touch on this bit, but not directly, but like, do you ever feel like lonely as an entrepreneur? Like working online, this sort of thing. And what do you do to actually counteract that?
A great phrase that, my manager at Lululemon told me once is it's lonely at the top of the mountain. And I think that kind of, I think it puts it in perspective. not from like, oh, I'm at the top of the mountain, look at me ahead of you.
Yeah.
It's not really from that. It's just like, okay, like you want to get up the mountain, like it's lonely at the top of the mountain, and that's kind of it. And what was the question? Sorry.
Do you ever? Are you not listening to my questions?
Do you feel
lonely, Nick? I feel lonely when people don't listen to me.
That's funny. I think for me, not too much. I think it's just about balancing it, because I think what happens, and this was actually happening in Ultimate Guide System when we were going through it together, is if you are if you're trying to do it all by yourself for too long, you actually become resistant to feedback. You become resistant to input, and your feedback loops get kind of sloppy. So yeah, Diane is laughing right now because she would give me feedback and I would cry in my car.
You would get really angry, but not to me, because I didn't know. I had no idea that you were so angry, and you were like...
Well, and I think it even goes back to like resilience and being able to get feedback and then just like bounce back and go quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
Huge.
And being able to like process the feedback. Like some people will be able to process the feedback in a few minutes. There was a saying at Lululemon. It was one of the like operating principles. There was this like secret handbook, like how to operate a Lululemon. And it was this list of like 300 statements. And they were called the operating principles. And one of them was, we hire athletes who have style. And what it spoke to is that people who have been athletes or have played sports are used to the feedback loop. Their feedback loop's already really warm. They're used to just being, you know what I mean, getting lots and lots of feedback, and that actually helps them be successful. Like in like a fast moving store or something like this, they actually they take the feedback very quickly and can continue to perform. And I think that is really interesting. Like if you don't use it, you lose it. In terms of just like getting feedback loops. Yeah. So even with like writing, and especially like writing something longer, right? Like trying to get feedback at different stages, getting feedback on different parts of what you're working on, and getting feedback frequently. If nothing else, it just gets you used to receiving feedback.
Right.
And I noticed when I haven't received any feedback in a month, and then, I don't know, I'll get feedback about anything in life. I will just I'll be on it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'll be on it. Like, I'll be in my car. The other thing I do in my car all the time is I talk to myself. So then I'll just... a lot
in your car. I think you know what you need to do. This is what I'm going to suggest, Nick. I think that you should start some sort of like vlog or like podcast from your car. Because I think that would be hilarious. Because I actually think I saw a picture of you like whitening your teeth in your car.
Oh, yeah.
Like on
we have to
Instagram or something.
Yeah. So if you're not friends with me on Facebook, if you put the teeth whitening tray in while you're in traffic, the longer you are in traffic, the whiter your teeth are getting.
Yeah. So I can see it now. Seriously. Like in Nick's car or like something where it's just like you're talking.
But don't you think that'd be boring? Because that's all. Here's the thing, like that's about me. Like I wouldn't be like interviewing anyone, obviously. I wouldn't want to be interviewing with someone and also be in traffic.
Maybe it could be like a Q&A. So you collect questions and you answer the questions while you're in traffic.
Yeah, that might be okay.
Seriously, I feel something there. There's something about, because you brought up your car. Like, dude, you brought up your car multiple times during this.
I would say I'm probably in my car 2 to 3 hours a day.
Yeah, seriously.
Which is which for people is, like, some people is probably a lot. For me, it's just like
Nick's car. Nick's car. I like it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that more. I think that's a great idea.
Coming 6 weeks in Nick's car, a new podcast.
Seriously, in Nick's car, coming soon.
That's funny. I love it.
So this is kind of interesting because like you've been touching on this a little bit, but like this idea of like success rewards action, right? We need to do things, not just be like digesting content or this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Can you give us an example of when you should have taken action in the past, but you didn't? And what stopped you from doing that?
I guess one thing that would come up is, so in my freelance year, what I didn't really have are I built up a bunch of savings, and I was taking some of that savings and investing it in courses and conferences and, you know what I mean, like developing myself.
Yeah.
And it was actually too like the blinders were too far off where I just didn't have to deliver, or I didn't have to get the return on investment. It was like I was educating myself. And some people are like, I'm a lifelong learner. I just want to learn. And I'm like, no, like if I'm going to spend money, then I'm going to fucking make it back. Like, and then I'm going to make back 10 times as much, right? Like I'm definitely, and I think that sometimes there's a culture in this like online course culture. I think there are people that are using, I'm a lifelong learner as a veil to get themselves off the hook for actually delivering like the promises of the course, like Zero to Launch. You know what I mean? That program that you help facilitate, like you launch a product, you launch an information product in that course, period. How do you know you've done the course? You've launched an information product, period. It is black and white. Ultimate Guide System, I love it because guess who the people who have done the course are? The people who have fucking Ultimate Guides published, right? And like, and some people are going at different paces, but it's like I did like a load of courses and things like that. And it was almost like I was just doing so many things and then not finishing on any of them. It was like I was kind of like pulling ideas from here and pulling ideas from there. And I wasn't taking action. So, and I think also the action that I needed to take is I needed to create guardrails. Like I needed to create a container to where it's like, you cannot advance. You cannot like, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Like do this. Do this. And I think it's because like shiny object syndrome is worse than ever. And it's very, very easy, especially if you're trying to do this as a side hustle and you've got a high paying like full-time job that you hate. It is very easy to just like, it's like a drug, right? Where you can just be like, I'm going to get this $1,000 course because this sales page tells me I'm going to change my life. Or that 3 months later, I'm going to get this course because that tells me I'm going to, oh my God, that was the answer. Oh my God, that was the answer. That's the answer. And so I was definitely like, I just was not sticking with it long enough. It's kind of like Seth Godin in the dip. Like I thought I was in the dip for a long time, but I actually wasn't. I was just in the dip and I was like, this sucks. And then I would go do something else. But like you're in the dip for a while because it's in the dip that you have to decide whether to pivot or persevere. Yeah. And Eric Ries's Lean Startup, that book is the same way. Like you get into it and then you have to decide, okay, do I need to pivot or do I need to persevere? And I was not persevering. And I was like, actually like having money was enabling me. Having money was making me sloppy.
It made it possible. It was like, oh, I can just splash some cash over here. Whereas if you didn't have that extra cash, you're like, well, I've got this one course, I should maybe finish it.
Yep.
Because I can't.
So if you want your entrepreneurship to move forward, be broke.
There you go, everybody. Lesson gem. Boom. Hashtag tweet this out.
I burned down so much savings. I burned down almost $30,000 in savings, and I still like my jaw is dropping, and it's kind of it's a combination of things because it wasn't 30,000 in like I didn't even want to say that number just now, but it wasn't. I didn't buy $30,000 in stuff. It was a combination of that, and then since I was not being diligent on what I said earlier about being skilled in traffic and sales, like I actually could not rustle up $5K or $10K when it was time to do that. That's not that's my area of opportunity, right? So there was the combination of like I was dripping savings in order to just, for my personal finances. And then I was also dripping savings to sharpen the skills I thought I needed in order to, stop dripping. And so it was kind of like, it was like a risk. I took a risk and it flopped, right? And that's just like some risks flop. All you ever hear about risks, I feel like, are the risks where it was like, oh my God, I had one shoe and now I have $10 million. And that's that you only hear those stories.
That's what people talk about.
Like, I'm just here to say that like, hey, I quit my job too early and I didn't quite have the skills in place and I burned down $30,000 in a year, and that is super embarrassing and I hate admitting that. And I think of all the things I could have done with $30,000, right? Like I could have put a down payment on a place or, like so many things. But it got me like, I do have a wider skill set now. I'm not pulling the lifelong learner card, but now I can see I will never make that mistake again. And so to answer your question 30 minutes ago, that where's an area where you didn't take action, wish you did. I guess the action is I did not set up like these are my guardrails, and and like that's it. Like, nope, you don't get to take another course. Nope, you don't get to, purchase this or go to that. Like, you want to go to that? Great. Sell $10,000 in consulting packages, and then you can go to that. And just to create rules and then actually follow them.
I think that it's so true. It sounds really simple, but I think that you're probably not alone. Like, there's probably a lot of people that have done exactly the same thing. And seriously, like, because you're sitting here saying, like, I'm kind of embarrassed to be saying this, but I bet you so bad there's, like, so many other people that are like, dude, I did exactly the same thing. Like, fist bump, Nick,
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, you learn from it. And you wouldn't be where you are right now if you hadn't made, those mistakes or these things. So,
and here's the other thing. In brick and mortar business, it's the norm to plunge your life savings into a studio. I think that's kind of that's a catch about online business. I think people can get into online business and they can say, I'm an online entrepreneur, and they can get it. Yep. And they can get away with no action because there's no overhead. Right? It's like,
no
really, you have an online business and your overhead is $50 a month for like MailChimp and a Canva membership. Really? Like, that's not a business. Like, you need to put yourself on the hook, and you need to decide what you're going to do. And also, like, are you taking courses for, personal fulfillment and entertainment? Because if you are, like, I get that. Yeah. But if you're taking coursework to expand your skill set for the purposes of entrepreneurship, you need to measure, like, okay, how am I getting 10x the return on a course? Or for me personally, I don't want to consult a client unless I can get them 10 times what they're paying me. And I don't want to do a course unless I think the course can make the client 100 times what they're paying me. Like, I really think, like, this course that we're starting to beta soon, like, I believe that you can take the elements of the course and you can make 100 times the return. And if I don't think the course can do that, then the price is too high. Yeah, because it's just, like, I'm not selling. My courses are going to be fucking boring. They're not about, like, personal.
You're selling it, Nick.
I know, because they're not about entertainment. They're about like digital marketing and copywriting and creating that growth.
They will be entertaining though because you're delivering it.
There's that, and
sorry to crush your dreams of I'm going to sell a boring course and it's going to be so boring.
Well, I also think, and even like, just to not take people's money if all that they're looking for is ideas, right? Or, you know what I mean? To just kind of like flex their mental mind. And I know that I can't, like, someone could pay me or pay you and then not do the course or not do the, technically that can happen, right? That's just, that's business, that's online business. But I don't want to create like I don't want to create a program. Like, if I'm going to create a program, it's everyone's getting a personal phone call. Everyone's getting a check-in phone call. Everyone is finishing, right? Yeah. And if you are like, man, I don't want to get an accountability call, then you can't take the course.
There's this guy who's awesome. His name is Jason Gaynard. He is the creator of Mastermind Talks and also the podcast Community Made. And he was interviewing Naveen Jain, who said, dream so big that people think you're crazy. Okay. Mm. And I'd like to know, what's your dream that's going to make me be like, dude, you crazy.
I want health and fitness businesses to make so much money that they can actually take some of their profit and explore philanthropic efforts in the form of additional locations in lower income communities. So Houston's a great example. Yes, we're like doing, I'm focusing on boutique studios, but also like, a lot of that is rich white people. And there are plenty of other demographics, especially in Houston being Houston's the most internationally diverse culturally diverse county, the county that it's in the United States. Wow. Right. And there are neighborhoods that, everyone's a millionaire. And then there are neighborhoods where like people just don't have, they don't have access to exercise or something like that, right? And being someone who used to be really, really overweight, that access to that actually caused like a big transformation in my life. So I think that a lot of studio owners actually want to do that. That's why they get into opening a gym or a fitness studio in the first place. But then, like, just in terms of profit and other things like that, they just can't make that philanthropic footprint that they would like to make. Yeah. And if I'm doing my job correctly, they're making loads of money, and then because they are just ethical citizens, they'll take some of that and they'll explore additional opportunities. They'll explore opportunities to help people in need. And when they're successful, more people live happy, healthy lives.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to pause one more second because my husband is not actually seeing the message that I sent him. And like, if not, like if he can't, I need to go like now and run to pick up my son. So like, hold on one second. I'm going to phone him. This is like behind the scenes reality.
Behind the scenes.
Okay. Hi. Can you pick up Jack? You're really far. Okay. Well, then I'm gonna have to go. Okay. All right. You're gonna pick him up. Okay. Yeah. Don't be like that. You're awful. You're at the school. I hate you. Okay. This is being recorded and I'm not editing it out. Yes, my husband just faked me out because you're so funny. Oh my God. Thank you so much. You're there? Are you sure?
Maximum stress.
Oh my God. Okay. Thank you. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.
Is he still talking? He just hung up on it.
No. He's like, blah, blah, because he always goes, blah, 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 and then he clicks. So yeah, that's an example of my husband. So what he will do is he will fake you out, and he'll be like, what? Because he had said he was going out earlier and that he might be able to go pick up Jack. So I was like, we're gonna go long. And so I was like, calling, I'm like, oh, so like, can you pick up Jack? And he's like, what? No, like I'm really far away. And I'm like, oh shit, like I gotta go because it's like 10 minutes from when the bell rings and I'm about 10-15 minute walk. And he's like, and I'm like, okay, well I gotta go. And he's like, wait, I'm kidding. I'm here. I'm at the school. I'm like, oh,
I love it.
Love you. You're so sweet. It's like a combo of like face punching but also loving because he's picking him up when it's usually supposed to be picking him up. So yeah. Okay. Back to what we were talking about. Okay, well, first of all, that's a really awesome fucking dream, and I cannot wait to high five to you, digitally or in person, when you make that shit happen. Question: what did you sacrifice to become an entrepreneur?
I was gonna say my sanity. But I want to replace that because I don't think that's true, actually. I think I sacrificed my comfort.
Ooh, tell me more.
Well, it's uncomfortable in two ways. One, it's uncomfortable in terms of time, especially if you're side hustling on top of a full-time job. Like you're having to, connect with your significant other on compromises and things like that. And then also you're sacrificing your comfort in terms of, like, for many people in their full-time job, they are good at what they do, right? Or they do the job and they do the job well, and that's why they have the job. And in entrepreneurship, it's a very steep learning curve, and it's a minefield, right? There's lots of failure, there's lots of this, there's lots of that. And so I think if you are going to keep at it, you get to a point where you just have to accept being uncomfortable. Like this happened for me when I was doing triathlons. I would jump in the pool and the pool was always so cold. And so I would have this self-talk like, oh my God, the pool, it's so cold. It's so cold. And then we would train in Houston because in the winter it's around freezing temperature. In the winter, it doesn't get that cold here. But in the winter, we would still train outside. We would train on bike outside. And I'd be like, it's so cold. Oh my God, it's so cold. It's so cold. And then finally I just shifted and I was like, well, as long as I'm doing triathlons, I'm going to be cold and I just need to get the fuck over it. Like, that's it. And then, so I think it's like kind of the same thing. So I would say, you sacrifice your comfort, and your attitude in the face of that is what's going to determine your success.
Yeah. I love that. I think it's so true. Your comfort zone. It's like you have to push outside of it to actually do something meaningful. Now here's a very important question. The next one is, it's the controversial sandwiches segment. So there are two that I've heard of that apparently people feel very strongly about. So I would like to get your opinions on this, especially because you have been known to eat scrambled eggs with peanut butter.
Correct.
So, which is a whole other thing.
Delicious.
So peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Okay. How do you make it? how do you make the sandwich? Because apparently there's like only one way, and if you do it the other way, then you're a total freak.
You put the peanut butter on one side of the bread, you put the jelly on the other side of the bread, and then you put the slices of bread together.
Okay, so you're not a freak. So apparently there are some people, that's your test, you're not a freak. So apparently there's some people that like try to put the jelly onto the peanut butter, but then it like mixes it and then they...
No, it's gonna like infect the peanut butter jar.
I know! Can you tell which one I do? It's like you're mixing, gross. Also, are bananas okay in the sandwich?
Yeah, I'm okay with bananas.
Have you done that before?
I've done peanut butter and banana. I don't think I've done peanut butter, banana, and jelly.
Give it a try. I would highly recommend it. I personally love it. Some people think I'm a total weirdo. They're like, why would you put the combo in there? So yeah. Okay, so that's that one. Now, the second one is tuna sandwiches, pickle or no pickle?
I don't eat tuna sandwiches. I grew up in the Midwest, and I suppose canned tuna exists there, but I just don't really have like a palate for.
You don't like tuna, so you'd be like no to the tuna sandwiches in general,
or like fish. I'd be like, let's have a pickle sandwich, which might be kind of interesting. Pickle with like if you added some like kind of like a creamy or like a fatty cheese, like a Havarti or something.
Cheese, that would be delicious. Yes.
Yeah. On bread.
Have you ever had cucumber sandwiches? That's very, very British. We used to have, my mom's from England, so cucumber and
I have. Yeah. I don't do it too often. Yeah. Well, I don't really make sandwiches. Is that bad?
You're not a sandwich person. All right.
I'm not a sandwich person. I mean, it's a lot of work. And also
No. Sandwiches are not work. It's bread.
No, because, also for years, I didn't eat bread. I have kind of circled back a little bit on that, but I guess it's so in college I was a vegetarian for many years, and in that I was a vegan for about a year, and then I came to my senses, and now I eat again. But because the thing was, because I wasn't being very nutritionally sound. Like there's my best friend from grad school before I had my like black swan meltdown, had because I would go around during my vegan year and I would be like, guys, Oreos are vegan and so is whiskey. And so he will just sometimes like answer me with that statement, like Oreos are vegan and so is whiskey.
I'm so making a meme, by the way. What was it? Oreos and whiskey?
Oreos are vegan. Oreos are vegan. And so is whiskey. And so I think if you're going to do that, you have to like be on your nutrition more. That's all. And but especially from being vegan, I kind of like lost my taste for dairy. So I don't eat a lot of dairy, and then I did paleo for many years because it was just, I don't know, just easier to not eat like canned everything all the time. So I didn't eat bread for a long time or grains. And I've kind of like circled back a little bit on that. But I think that's why I just didn't eat sandwiches for a long time.
I mean, that makes sense. A lot of people don't do bread. I can understand that. I don't really actually eat sandwiches all that often either. But I think that's just because like living in Spain, it's like a sandwich is literally like bread, like cured ham and bread. There's like nothing else. They're good now. I've grown accustomed to it. But to me, a sandwich is like a salad, like like lettuce, tomato, everything. It's like
yeah.
But yes, okay. So what is something that you've always wanted to do, but haven't gotten around to doing it or haven't made happen yet?
I want to go to Thailand. I'm overdue for like a travel to the Far East. Okay. My sister lives in London, so every year, so I go visit her once a year. I've done that for, it's going to be year number 6. But since that's almost always my international trip. So like for Europe, except for I did a competition one year when I was in music school in the Czech Republic. Otherwise, I've never been to the mainland. Which is absurd because I've been to London so many times. Wow. But it's like, if I'm going to make the trip, like, I'm going to absolutely max out my family time. Like, that's great. Yeah. Like, you've got castles and all that stuff. That's nice. But it's like, I'm going there to max out that family time. That said, I am overdue to I want to go to Tokyo and I want to go to Sydney and I want to go to, like, that kind of like, if you're going to go, like, that's not, it's a 4 or 5 day trip. Like, that's a long trip.
Yeah. for sure.
Yep. And so also I think that kind of guides like my career goals is like building in like, I don't think I could be a digital nomad, honestly, because I like structure.
Yeah.
But I think like building in enough so that like I could potentially take more like, you know, a 10-day vacation, a 14-day vacation, a 30-day vacation, you know, and to have that as an option.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of my like guiding points in terms of career goals. Yeah.
I love that. That's something that I'd like to do as well. Like this idea of, well, for me, it's actually like traveling to like meet people. So like seeing people in person. It's like doing this, but then doing it in person. And so, I get to go see this awesome person and see, you know, where they live and their city and this sort of thing. So I totally understand that. All right. Fast facts. Is
this a segment?
Yes, this is a segment. We need a song because I don't have professional music. So
I used to be able to buzz my no, but like how you play French horn, you're like so actually, and then I had to learn, oh my God, for this one solo, I had to learn how to hum while playing so that I could do two notes at the same time. Whoa. And now, so that's a totally, like, like, talk about worthless skill set. But now if I do it together, it sounds kind of like a car engine starting. So let me try it.
Let's do it.
Totally worth $40,000 in student loans, right?
Oh my God.
Let's see. Let's do that's Rihanna. What's my name? That can be your segue. Just cut that audio, and that can be the fast facts section. It sounds so. If you have a French horn, that sounds so much better than what I just did. But you know, no one likes to see how the sausage is made. That's from Roommate Safety.
Oh my God. You
can do it too. You like, you push your lips together. It's like you're whistling, but you're going to buzz your lips. It's like. Diana's Fast Facts.
Oh my God. Like everything hurts because I'm laughing so much. Okay.
Great.
We're gonna do fast facts. Okay, so here we go. What is your full name?
Nicholas Alexander Wolny.
Oh, that's so nice. When's your birthday?
February 28th, 1987.
Are you the oldest, youngest, middle, or only child?
I am the younger.
Of?
Two.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Hugs or handshakes?
Hugs.
Thank you very much. Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite ice cream?
Spumoni. Which is like Neapolitan, but instead of vanilla, it's pistachio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Spumoni. All right, cool. Favorite sport?
Running.
Okay. What do you eat for breakfast?
Peanut butter and eggs. Actually, I don't eat that often. I had to go on a diet because I've gained 9 pounds at my new fitness job. And so I eat Greek yogurt with either grapefruit or peach mixed in.
Okay, sounds very healthy. Pet peeve? Or something that just bothers you?
When people chew with their mouth open.
Okay.
Yep. I'm just like, even at a conference, I'm just like, sorry, can you shut the fuck up? Black heart emoji. Oh
my God, seriously, like this is like the dark side of Nick. I'm gonna have to name this podcast like the Nick you never knew existed. Da, da, da. I'm gonna adapt this question to you specifically. What makes you cry in your car?
When I am overwhelmed and when I get in my head about everything there is to do. And also sometimes when I see montages of baby animals.
Okay.
Those are the three biggest ones.
I love it. What song makes you want to dance?
The Fast Facts intro fanfare.
We're gonna have to make that into like a rap. I'm gonna like.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be so good. Do you make your bed every morning?
I do.
Okay.
Yes. I think it sets the tone for the day.
It really does, right? Like Navy SEALs, they all make their beds. Apparently, my husband's a Navy SEAL as well. He's like, I'm a Navy SEAL. I gotta make my bed. When getting dressed, do you put the left or right leg of your pants on first?
I put the right leg on first.
Me too. Do you floss?
Yes.
What do you listen to when you work?
I listen to the same song over and over again. I'll choose a song from a band I like. Yep, and it's actually I was watching a thing from John Romanello about getting in your writing flow, and he was talking about the different things he does, and one of the things he listens to the same song repeatedly because then it just it's like background. Yeah,
I totally get it. I do that too. Last but not least, meme or GIF?
So it's GIF.
Well, actually, I should change this question to be: is it GIF or GIF? Because that's actually controversial.
Yeah.
Is it GIF or GIF?
I actually don't know. I think both are correct at this point
GIF
because there's so much confusion.
I know.
I say GIF also.
Okay.
I would say GIF.
Yeah.
And I actually don't know how to make them, but I need to learn. I need to learn that.
I need to teach you, dude. I'm gonna make some GIFs of you and of this conversation.
Oh my god, I love it!
Like,
yay!
Fast facts. You're gonna be like our music to go out, by the way.
Yay!
All right. So this is interesting. What's one thing that people don't know about you that they might find surprising?
I lost 105 pounds, and I've kept it off for 14 years.
That's fucking insane.
It's a lot of that. That's a person. Yeah.
Dude, that is. High fives.
High five.
And the fact that it's like, and what was it, 15 years, you said?
It'll be 15 in the spring.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's seriously outstanding.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This is the fun stuff, all right? Well, this has all been fun, but if if I walked into a bar and ordered a Nick Wolny, what drink would the bartender come back with and place in front of me? And you can give details if there's any accompaniment, the shape of the glass, like what's going on there. What kind of a drink are you, my friend?
It would be a hot toddy, but with like a ridiculous amount of lemon put into it. So like in the morning, there's this down here, there's this carbonated mineral water called Topo Chico.
Okay.
And it's so good. So usually most mornings I will drink that with literally 4 ounces of lemon juice squeezed into it. And it's kind of like a lemon water. It's like, ooh, just kind of like gets me up and running in a different way than coffee, I guess. So I love lemon. I could swig the lemon juice straight out of the bottle, which is disgusting. And that's why I have to floss like every 5 seconds, because my teeth are degrading so rapidly. So it would be a hot toddy. And then I like hot drinks. Do you ever see that thing from Tony Robbins that like people who drink warm drinks feel warm, and then people who drink cold drinks feel cold, like emotionally?
Really?
Yeah, I'll have to tag you in it. Okay. But yeah, they did a study where they gave people coffee. People were like, I want a coffee. And they gave them either warm coffee or cold coffee. And then they asked them how they felt after drinking the coffee. And
I have heard about that.
Emotionally, the people who drink the warm drinks felt
warm and fuzzy.
More emotionally warm. Yeah.
So note to self. Well, actually, it was really funny because last night, so I was feeling sick. I'm actually feeling fantastic right now, so we're all good. But I filled it up with hot water and lemon juice and some honey. And so I was drinking it, and it was hot. And it was like, this is kind of nice. Like, in the evening, a little bit of lemon, a little honey.
Yep. Yeah. I love it.
Okay. So, this one's good. This is new, so I don't know if you saw this or not.
Ooh.
I'm surprising you with this one. So,
okay, bring it.
If your name were a dance move, what would it look like? And please demonstrate. I want to know what a Nick Wolny is.
Well, okay. Well, I have to get up to do mine because it uses my legs.
Oh.
Okay, and I'll have to like put my headphones down, and then you can just respond how you like to respond. Okay, so
you need some space, everybody.
When I would teach spin, like you have to dance around during class, and we would have like dance workshops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do this thing where like you just turn one knee in, and you turn onto the ball. You lift your heel, and you're on the ball of your foot. I'll just demonstrate it. Watch my legs. Okay, ready?
I'm watching you.
Okay. Can awesome. You see? There's my chair. Ready?
Okay.
So it's like,
oh yeah, and there's a snap.
What?
There's a snap too. There was a definite snap going on.
And so I would do that because like I didn't have a dance background, but I was teaching indoor cycling, and that made me look like I had a dance background when I actually could not dance.
It really did.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it.
Yep. Just do that.
I like it.
So it's all about like moving the knees.
Okay, move those knees. Oh my god, awesome, love it. So last question. Actually, well, there's two, but last question is. So I have a son. So Jack, very good name.
Yes.
So he's 5, and many of the people that are listening, might be parents as well, or maybe they have nephews or nieces. And I am curious if you could tell Jack or any kids one thing about life or business, what would you tell them?
School is overrated.
Ooh. Tell me more. Why?
Well, I guess from the perspective of like going to school is not going to be the answer. The answer is going to be like the people you meet in school, the skills you learn in school, and how you apply them. Because I remember like one of the main reasons I enrolled in music school is that I just thought it was going to be the escape that I was desperately looking for. And I think that's true for a lot of people with college, or they're like, even people are still just trying to like figure things out. But for me, there was very much this arc of like, okay, I'm going to go, or like, oh my God, I got into this school. I'm going to go and like my life is going to be amazing and everything's going to work out. And actually that's just, that's not how it plays out. I think it's just like if you're going to school, especially because in 20 years, I'm sure, at least in the States, like college is just going to be astronomically expensive. Already it's astronomically expensive. So just communicating that like, hey, there are other options and like you might consider doing this or doing that.
Yeah. I think that's so true. Like this idea of like, oh, education. I mean, education is great. Like it really is. But then also it doesn't necessarily guarantee you anything.
Well, I look at, so some of the people that I went to undergrad with, music undergrad, that was 9 to 12 years ago. They are still in degree programs. They're doing it purposely they're delaying the completion of a PhD, even though a PhD in music doesn't get you anything. Like you can maybe get on faculty, but faculty is, it's like so difficult and so competitive because everyone's trying to do it. Yeah. So they're literally like delaying the start of their life because their student loan is so high, and your student loan doesn't start to pay back until you are out of school. So they are like delaying life. And just to look at the the last like 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And then for some of the, I've got a couple of people that I remember I went to school with, and we would like be in the dorm together freshman year, and they are still in school. And it's like, if you were becoming a doctor, like I could wrap my head around that. But and for music, like you just go and you take the audition and you win the audition, and the audition's blind. So how many degrees you have and who you know doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you have to win the audition.
Right, it's talent.
So it's completely skill and talent oriented. It has nothing to do with networking. It has nothing to do. That's why you have these like horrible, awful personalities in music, is because like you actually don't need any soft skills in order to be wildly successful. So it's actually a great, like if you're someone who's like, I'm just going to put my head down and work. I think it's similar for a lot of like pro athletes, right? That can just be like so much about the craft and they are so good at it that they actually don't need social skills. Yeah.
School is overrated.
school's
It's
over.
funny. I think that a lot has changed since we were in school, and there's so many different approaches to school and education.
Yeah.
And it's like what's right, what's wrong, these sort of things.
Yeah.
I think that's it's good. I think it's to just question things as well. Just to be like, okay, like think about it. You don't have to just be the cookie cutter and go into, you can be a triangle. You don't have to be a circle if that's what you establish yourself to be.
Or be a triangle tomorrow and just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we are landing this plane, but I would love if you want to like share where people can find you, if you've got anything awesome and special that might help people, depending on, if they're, for example, if people are listening and they're in like, they've got a boutique, fitness gym or center, how you can help them and where they can find you on the internet.
Where people can find me is either on my website, which is nickwolny.com. I've got some cool, as we mentioned, guides and resources for you to scoop up there. And then also, like my platform of choice is Facebook. I just like toying around on Facebook so people can friend me. I've got a separate business page on there if people want to follow that. Yeah, I'm not super mega spammy, I promise. I actually sent an email to my list this morning and I looked and I hadn't sent one in 10 weeks. Like I literally hadn't sent one since I wrote the last guide. So I do not spam you, but when I do write you, it's like I want to like tell stories and have it be good. So yeah, and I'd love to connect.
Okay. And just really quick, can you spell out your name just so everyone
Oh yeah, this is a podcast, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So it's nickwolny.com, NICKWOL, N as in Nancy, Y.com.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Nick. This was absolutely fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Way too much fun. Oh, wait. And then you need to play us out. We need some like...
Oh, yes.
No pressure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a melody. I'm gonna make it jazzy since you played the saxophone.